Good morning, everyone. My name is Vik Chaudhary, and I'm here on stage with Manny Gonzalez. Thanks, Manny.
Sure.
From Keynote. And we're here to demonstrate what we think is an exciting new product, mobile device perspective. And what the product does, it's a really, really advanced platform for both testing interactively and monitoring 24/7 your native mobile apps. So I'm going to use the clicker here, and let's keep going. What we want to do is, well, first of all, can we switch to the slides, please?
Oh, yeah, I want to go with this one.
So what we're going to be talking about is why do you want to even test mobile apps? Well, it's almost obvious. But of all the apps in the world, they've been downloaded 20 billion times. And 15 billion of those have been on the iPhone. On the Apple Store and the Android Store, there are 400,000 apps on iPhone, and there's 200,000 on the Android. So that's a huge thing. I'm still not seeing our slides up. Oh, there we go. Great. Thank you.
There you go.
Well, there's lots of popular mobile applications: social networking, LinkedIn, Facebook, e-commerce applications like eBay, Groupon, Fandango, financial services app, Mint, E-Trade, Schwab. Well, there's tons of apps out there. But what are the challenges of testing and monitoring these kinds of native apps on Android, on iPhone, on BlackBerry, on these different platforms? Well, the first thing is, it's an app. It runs on a real phone. So you need a real device, a real smartphone, out there somewhere connected to a live network, and you need to be able to control it, connect to it, control it, and do interactive testing on it. Now, if you're doing testing or if you're doing monitoring, you've got to start with the test. And a test essentially is something that has high fidelity playback. Every time you play it back, it does exactly what you said it should do. That's a script. So what you need is a script interface. But for smartphones, what you really need is a script interface that is purpose-built for smartphones. Imagine all the things you do with your phones. You've got applications, and you shake your phone, or you change the orientation of your phone, or you do swipes, you do pinches. All of these are events that your app is recognizing and doing something with. So first and foremost, you need a script recorder that allows you to create a test and understand all of those different kinds of gestures and be able to use that. And finally, what good is all this data? What good is all this testing if you can't actually collect all the data and be able to view it? But for apps, here's something specific. You may not care how long it takes for that app to actually launch, but you care to know when it's first usable, when you can actually first start typing into it. You do care when you go from screen to screen and you're fetching a ton of data, and it's fetching it from the database across a slow network or a fast network. How long is that going to take? You care about all these different transitions. So what we're going to show today is a demo of Mobile Device Perspective 5.0, and I just want to show you what we're going to show here in a second, and Manny's going to do that. We have real mobile devices, smartphones, all over the world. You can place them anywhere you want, or we place them for you. And today we are specifically going to connect to an iPhone, which is in San Francisco. So across the internet, that Mac right there is going to be connecting to it, and we're going to control it. And we'll do three things. First, we'll do remote interactive testing. Next, we'll create a script, we'll replay it back. And third, we'll show you the data if you took that same app and ran it 24/7. So let's start with the remote interactive testing. We're going to use a Fandango app, and Manny's the chief engineer of this product, and he's going to show you how it works.
Great. Thanks, Vik. All right. Well, we're going to switch over to this monitor. And as Vik just pointed out, we're showing mobile device perspective here, 5.0. I guess to set the stage here, what you're about to see, you all are very familiar with the fact that client applications sort of had their heyday and started to fade in lieu of the web. And web sort of took its place and really sort of took off as the native app, if you will, on PCs and desktops. Around 4 years ago, we saw the same thing start to happen, where mobile devices finally got viable web interfaces and web browsers. But something else happened around that same time. Mobile applications also started to take off again. Well, applications, native ones, started to take off again, but this time on mobile. And the reality is today is the back-end infrastructure that you all support, the systems that need to be up 24/7, are not only used by the browser, but they are used by applications, mobile applications, native applications. And Vik just pointed to all these apps that are available and being downloaded now in the store. So this interface gives you access to remote devices, remote smartphones. These are live smartphones on a live network. What you're seeing up here in this console are devices that are geographically distributed, and they allow you to test, and they allow you to start to understand, to troubleshoot, to diagnose these native applications that ultimately hit your back-end servers and ultimately exercise the services that you offer to people via the web as well as mobile. With this interface, you're able to quickly see a few things: where these devices are located, what models we're using. You're able to tell what cities they're deployed in, and you're also able to tell what state these devices are in. Some of them, as you can see, are checked out. They're being used by other people. Some are being used by me, actually. Some are busy. Some are offline. But this is the UI that gives you that sort of view of all these devices as they're distributed. Now, I have one open, as Vik was talking about earlier. This is an iPhone that we have. In fact, let me go over to this particular phone. And I'm going to show you a few things you can do interactively, and then we're going to come back and talk about scripting. Interactive access, of course, is very important. How do you test, diagnose, troubleshoot issues today when folks report them on a mobile device? More than likely, you pick up a phone and you try it. You launch the app, you interact with it in your hand. If it needs to be in another location, you call somebody, maybe you send them a phone. The idea here is that you can interact with this device no matter where it's at from the comfort of your desktop, and I'm just going to show you a few simple things that you can do here. With smartphones, as you all know, LCDs and touch interfaces have become very sophisticated. I'm using this iPhone, and I'm actually implementing swipe gestures or executing them here on the phone. So I'm swiping across this display. In real time, this is happening. Don't get confused. This is not a simulator. This is not an emulator. I'm sending TCP packets over the network over to a live device that's in San Mateo. And these packets are being sent. The phone is responding as its LCD changes. The LCD data is being streamed back in real time to me on this PC here. So this is all live interactions. In addition to that, I'm going to do something that might help drive it a little bit more. I'm going to make a phone call.
You're going to call me here, Manny?
So I'm going to call you, Vik.
I'll turn my phone back on.
Hopefully we get good signal in here. There it is.
I can hear it.
Okay. So we're calling Vik, and just to make sure that we're not spoofing you all, Vik's going to send me a message. Send me a text message with, I don't know, anybody's name.
All right. Well, how about this tall guy right here in the cool shirt? What's your name, sir? Steve. All right, Steve. So I'm going to send a text, and it says, Steve loves velocity. Is that an accurate statement?
Yes. All right.
All right.
Excellent. So as we wait for, there it is, Steve loves velocity. All right, so we're live. What I'm going to do next is just show you a couple other things you can do quickly in an interactive way, and then we'll move on. Some of the important things about the smartphones nowadays is that they're so capable in many ways. And these are things that are a little harder to test on the web, right? The phones expose elements that are not, there's no parallel to them today on the web. So you have the GPS indicators here. This device can tell me where it's at when I'm in the Google Maps app. And there you can see we're not cheating. This phone is definitely in San Mateo. Multi-finger gestures, again, something that has become very popular over the last few years. So I'm doing the pinch, the two-finger gesture here. We've implemented here within our gesture palette. Expand is the opposite of that. Oh, this is very interesting. The phone is actually taken on a life of its own because I have it monitoring. So I'm going to turn that off so that we're not interrupted by the monitoring. There, just stop that. Okay, let's get back. This phone is too smart for me. Okay, but back into the apps. The other thing is the swiping. You saw me do that earlier. Same thing is possible here. You can swipe around the maps. It's all live and in real time. Now, this is just an example of some of the things you can do with a device. Next thing I want to show you, and Vic's going to talk about our segue here into how to automate some of that.
Okay, so we just saw real-time interaction with the phone, but you're now going to go to the Fandango app, and you're going to create a script, Manny, and that script you're going to then replay from this device.
Correct.
Okay.
All right.
So the script you're taking is Fandango. You go to a neighborhood, you enter your zip code, you search for a movie, and you look at all the show times.
That is correct. So we're going to choose a third-party app this time, as opposed to the what you saw earlier, which was just the built-in applications. So let's do this. I'm going to go in here. I'd launched it earlier, so what I'm going to do is press and hold. We're going to close out this app, and we're just going to run it real quick. So we'll launch the app, and everything that you've seen me do so far in an interactive manner, the very natural next progression would be, well, how do I capture and play that back so that I don't have to manually do these steps every time? And I'm going to show you just a very, very simple demonstration of how you would do that. So I'm going to put the device in recording mode, and now it's recording all of my input. If I move over and hit theaters, you're going to see it respond to theaters. And this is just the same sort of mode I had earlier, except you'll notice in this little window, we're tracking the events now. And now I'm going to close this out. All right, so I'm going to stop. Just for the sake of time here, we're going to move through it. And we will close this app, run it one more time. But this time, I'm going to play back the script. All right. We'll launch, and I'm going to play. And you'll notice now it hit theaters. It's going to hit search. There, went back to the search screen. Now it's going to hit the home key, and we're going to come out. So very, very quickly, you can point and click your way to recording a simple command script. And this is it's great for doing simple, repetitive things. You can see these commands we've exported here. There's just maybe a dozen or so of these commands that you can execute, and they'll actually drive the phone itself. Now, what I'd like to do is show you an example of something that's a little more complex. With these phones, you can certainly do simple things, but once you get into monitoring, once you get into the idea that you need to track performance, there's more to it than just simple pointing and clicking. And we're going to give you an example of that right here. Let me launch a script that we had written just before this. To give you an example, I was really pleasantly surprised and happy to hear this discussion this morning on JavaScript. This is a JavaScript language that we built into the scripting product, and exposing, like I said, about a dozen primitives, you can write JavaScript to drive these devices. You can point and click your way to a script, and you can supplement it with your own logic. And the important and key thing here, in addition to adding reference screens, things that help the phone navigate so you can check every screen you're at to make sure you're navigating properly, you can also put in timers. And that's really the important thing here to track performance. So I'm going to go ahead and run this script, and we're going to time two things. We're going to time how long it takes to launch this Fandango app. We're starting now. We're timing. We're at the page. This is a splash screen, so we're still not done loading. We're still timing. We're still loading movies. We're still not done. We're timing. We're timing. We're timing. We're finished. Now we're going to try to search for a movie. We're not timing yet. We turned off the first timer. We're going to enter a movie name. We're going to time again. We start when we hit the search key. That would be right here. I'm just going to run that for us. There. We just went through a two-phase timing of this script. I'm going to let this run one more time as I explain to you what we've done. We've recorded a script. We're playing it back. We're capturing timing information around the loading and the searching. And what we have, in addition to this timing and this script, is we've captured a video. Every time these scripts are executed, video's captured that you can use later on in the process. So I'm going to show you that as soon as this one wraps up. And then this will lead us to how you can collect this data over and over 24/7. So there we have the completed result. I'll come here, show you the playback. Now, do you notice up here we have segment 1 and segment 2? These were the two parts of the test that we timed. You're able to tell that segment 1, which was the loading of the app, took 13 seconds, and the searching of the movie was actually pretty quick. It happened in about 1 second. This is all run over the air, by the way. This is on the 3G network. I'm now playing back a video of what the device just finished doing when it ran that script. So you can see this. You can actually share this with other people. You can use this for diagnostic purposes. And this is all available right here within the console. So this gives you an example of the interactive capabilities. And then the second thing we just talked about were the recording and the playback capabilities.
So we just saw script and replay, and the last part is the automated monitoring. Can you show some of the data that you would collect if you ran this app?
So the last step here would be, now that I've got a script, I can verify that it plays back, I can verify that it captures timing information. How can I visualize that timing information running the script over and over again? Well, that very script, this script right here that was created, can then be uploaded, provisioned, scheduled so that it runs 24/7. And once you do that, you have access to graphs, charts. Go ahead and show you a few. There's one. Here's another one. Oops. Bear with me a second. Here we go. Okay. So these charts were produced from that exact same transaction that you just saw. You see two different colors here. One represents the loading of the app. The other one represents the searching for the movie. You can see here that generally the loading takes long and the searching is small. But you can see that there are times when all of a sudden the search just goes nuts. And it takes 30 seconds or longer to do. We saw that when we were recording this script. So this is not something that is, an unusual circumstance related to the device or something like that. This is actually real. This is what happens. Here's the other distribution here. You have full access now to 24/7 monitoring of the same script that you're able to interactively create. And again, I think the key to understand is that we've seen this, we're familiar with this on the web. It's something that we're used to, we do all the time. But mobile apps do present their own challenges. And this now allows us to do the same types of things we do with web, with native mobile apps running on smartphone devices.
Thanks, Manny. That is a great demo. So what you saw was remote interactive testing on a live smartphone. Then you saw scripting and replay of a test, and then the data that you get from running that test in an automated way, doing automated monitoring. So come by the Keynote booth if you get a chance, and maybe take your own apps for a spin. What you'll see will really amaze you, might delight you, might shock you, but either way, the data is going to do all the talking. So thanks very much. Have a great velocity, guys. Good job, man.